Namaste, namaste, family of light, both on Zoom and on Facebook Live, and our wonderful, beautiful light workers who are presently here at the Cosmic Center Spiritual Light, located in Sarasota, Florida. And I don't know, the lighting over here in Zoom is a little different, but that's okay, as long as you can hear me. And we are located in Sarasota, Florida. We do the cosmic chat before we do the anchoring light transmission meditation. And I have something special to say. This week celebrates our 18 years of having an anchoring light transmission meditation every Monday without fail. So that's sort of a big deal. They're clapping here at the center. And why is that a big deal? Because why do you show up every single week? What is the motivation and the ability for that to even happen during, like, storms and hurricanes and all other things that could happen? I always say the safest place to be in a storm is on a Monday evening over here at the anchoring light. That's, that's the safest place to be. But what is the motivation? Why are we showing up each and every week? And I don't know, literally thousands of people have come and gone and come back and gone, and whatever that is, new people coming in. And that's because we are consciously aware that we work with the ascended masters. Now, some people may call them saints, some people call them ancestors, but I believe every single human on some level, somewhere, okay, before maybe the great indoctrination, maybe as a little kid, okay, sense that there's more going on. Like little kids and they have invisible friends, or they are more pure and they're not as solidified into the what I call indoctrination. Okay, this is how things that are, because we're born into that. And of course, who do you look to? Your elders, your parents, your teachers. Who do they look to? Their parents, their elders, their teachers. So, it keeps on going down the generations until finally someone says, I don't know, is that what we should be doing? And I think there was enough questions throughout the ages. This is not new. Those heretics that are saying, oh, what are you talking about? How dare you go against, the narrative? And if you begin to see, for many of us, we still hold the living history, and we could see the gaslighting in our own lifetime. Like, it's not true. That's not the experience. And as I've said before, what has happened? Human nature has really changed that much. So if it's happening now, did it not happen in the past? Okay, but there's an overriding frequency and what is known, people call it by different names, the divine plan. What is the divine plan? Well, the fact that it says divine plan means there's a higher plan here beyond the scope of what's going on in this physical planet, and the gravitational pull within this planet is some higher level of a plan. Again, and we started to wake up like, gee, what is this plan, first of all? And more importantly, am I part of this plan? Okay, and I know we have said the prayers, the great invocation. Some of you are very familiar with that. And there is a sentence in there that says, the masters know and serve. And I always said, what do the masters know and serve? And what is this divine plan? And as I've always said, as you start knocking, okay, the doors begin to open. And as I get, the word that I like is striving. As you strive, as you're like, okay, I don't understand, well, I'm going to keep on going. I sense it, I feel it, I'm not sure. But it is making known the unknown, to pierce through the illusions and the delusions, okay, to get to what I would say a higher truth, a higher truth. So in this regard, oh yeah, we do have to put that in, thank you. In this regard, that is beginning to understand your higher intuitive nature. Some people may call it the higher self. Other people would say it is the oversoul, whatever name it is. You become aware that there's a higher part of yourself That's what you become aware of. And you become aware of the fact that you are so much more, which we've talked about, outside of this physical body. And we have to start trusting that part. We have to start trusting that part. Okay. And then it is that part, okay, as you begin to develop this intuition, as you begin to develop this idea that I'm going to start seeking. And we begin first as seekers. Like, I don't know if I'm getting all my questions answered by the powers that be. Okay, I'm not sure. So maybe what I need to do is start, become our own Indiana Jones. Start seeking for yourself. And then you become to see that, wow, there is so much information out there you're not privy to. And now, in the age of Aquarius, okay, all that has been hidden is now beginning to rise. All now we can access information that we couldn't access 15 years ago. Forget 25 years ago, forget 100 years ago. So as I've always say, on your phone, you can access the Library of Congress. You could get any information that's out there. So no longer is it a situation that says, I don't have privy to information. Now, do you have to have discernment? Always, but you pick up these little nuggets along the way. And as I've always said, now we come to a point in understanding in our own spiritual development to start getting information what? Directly. Directly. You don't need a guru. You don't need a priest or this or that. Do we work together as a community? Absolutely. Do we share information? Absolutely. But you can go direct. And what happens if you have a community, a light tribe that says, hey, let's go direct together? Oh my gosh, that is that more amplified. Okay, so the only dogma, okay, from you look at all is unconditional love, the compassionate heart. That is the God with a capital G that Jesus refers to in the New Testament. And then you have to start to, discern everything. So you're hearing something, say, from the Greek perspective. What did the Sumerians have to say? What did the Egyptians have to say? Okay, what did different groups, who wrote, and from their perspective? And like anything else, as any scholar would read it and start to say, well, I don't know, this is a different version here, but there is a theme that's connecting everything. And now I call it, YouTube University. Okay. You could pretty much get the scholars. I like Dr. Sledge myself personally. He's a wonderful man and he is a brilliant scholar, in my opinion. And he does all the work for me. He reads all these ancient texts in different languages and he says, this is what it says. I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then you start to kind of connect the dots in your own intuition, dreams, sparks of inspiration, and you are on your spiritual journey of what? Gnosis. And I'm going to do a whole thing about Gnosis because Gnosis is real. Gnosis is that direct knowing. It's true. It's like nobody has to tell me this. I know this to be true. It's in my bones, it's in my spirit. There's no questions asked about that. And that is your golden nuggets towards your own personal journey, which is our collective journey. As we start to do that, we begin to maneuver through the miscreations, okay, the indoctrinations, all the stuff, the program. Okay, now I think many of us are coming to the realization what in Sanskrit, okay, they called Maya. Maya, what's Maya? The illusion. Well, just like in the Great Invocation, it says, the divine plan which the masters know and serve. What does that mean? What's that Maya mean? What are these words? What did they? Well, I never heard of these words before. Maybe I should investigate. What's Gnosis? Okay, and where's all these texts and why were they hidden? That's my number one question. For the Western world, it's like, why are these labeled heretics? Okay, Why are these no longer available? And this is what you're supposed to think, and this is what you're supposed to believe, because this is the narrative. Now, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. I know, at least in the Western tradition, okay, Constantine, if you look at human nature, I don't think Constantine was going to say, I'm going to give up my power. I really don't think that. He'll say, I'm going to design a way, okay, to have the narrative, okay, of this. And let's have a council and let's decide what goes in and what goes out for our personal agenda, because we want to be in charge. Okay. And so you have to go through us to get to that. And guess what? We could read and write, and the peasants can't. Yay. Right. And then you have to say, wow, I'm seeing that stuff right now in present day. In present day, you're like, okay. So again, why am I talking about? It's to start for us to think on our own, for us to start to say, I am, and I just remember many years ago, I read something and somebody said, trust nothing. I'm like, oh, why would somebody say that? We should be trusting this, that, and the other. But then I'm like, as I go along life, not to say you don't trust people who love you and support you and guide you, although we're all vulnerable. Okay, this entire creation most certainly is vulnerable to distortion. Okay, but you look at the powers that be over time in the rise and the fall, there has been what? Abuse and corruption. And so that should go bing. And this is what is so important for us to remember. Even if we recognize this, as we choose to walk our path of light, as we choose to say, I'm not in line with that, I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. I'm going to have to make a stand. Okay. And you have others you say that do that. I'm not going to go along and do anything that may be hateful or disparaging another human or an animal. Okay. And then I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to try to get the answers for myself because I want to be a seeker of the light. And if I'm a seeker of the light, that means I have to look at everything. I have to reevaluate everything and come to what? My own conclusion. So the mantra I'm sending out there is own, okay, the responsibility of you walking on your personal path of light. And what that's going to mean is you start to investigate, you start to really come into your meditation, you start to align yourself, okay, with those higher energies that you sense and you feel, or you investigate more as to what that is. And as you do, you are on your path of gnosis, of direct knowing. Because get what? You are interdimensional being. And yes, get what? Talk. You remember Thoth, okay? Thoth is a mighty and powerful being. Thoth is with a little g, Egyptian god. Thoth says there is the unknowable. And that he gave them no tablets. And Buddha and all of them say, hey, listen, one of the things you want to do, love thy neighbor as thyself, the golden rule. They all said it. They all said it. So that may not be promoted in the village or the town or the country you may be, but if you're aware of it, you have to start to do it. You are responsible for it. Then somebody else will have the courage to say, well, you're right. I'm going to do that too. Okay. And so it's so important now because who are we waiting for? We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Like, gee, I wonder who's going to do this. And I wonder who's going to take care of this. And I wonder who's going to do it. And you turn around and there's nobody there. That means it's you. Who, me? Yeah, you. You. It's come to you. You're responsible for it. You signed up for it. You were here not to be part of the Matrix program. You're here to dismantle it and bring it into the higher alignment that Jesus the Christ, the Buddha, Krishna, all of them speak of. If you read the text, they're all saying the same thing. This is the illusion. This is Maya. This is a false matrix. You don't come from here. You come from something much higher, what the Gnostics call the pleroma, the source, the one, the all. That's who we are. We're not this. We were made in the highest of aeons. That's who we truly are. So I kept on saying, as many other traditions say, we're trapped light. We are light in a physical manifestation. But what we can do, we could either go by the physical manifestation that has its passions and its wants, and not to say you don't take care of the physical body and honor the material, we are in it, but we're not consumed by it, and we are not controlled by it. Rising up to that light part of ourselves, the higher part, the overself. That's the frequency we are here to anchor at this time on this planet for the cycles of time for its ascension. That's the job, beautiful light workers. That's our job. That's it. And we have to wake up to deprogram the program. We're not smart enough. We're not worthy enough. And of course, the great one, fear. Oh, let's do that. No, that one has worked for such a long time. If you don't do this, you'll go to hell forever. It's not even like, gee, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Can I get out? No, forever. And you have to start thinking. And I always, what has been enlightening for me is what they call earth rising. And yeah, I'm in that generation that remembers when, there was a snapshot from the moon's perspective of the earth. And whatever you thought you were at that time expanded this much. And now you can see Earth from the perspective of Mars. And we are a little light dot. And now you could take pictures of Mars and see what's going on there. So this is a whole paradigm shift that says there is so much more. Remember, they said that, the sun revolved around us. Well, they got that wrong. What else did they get wrong? We got to check it out for ourselves. So with that, beautiful light workers, I will say, walk your path of light. Keep on knocking. Trust yourself. Go ahead and get that spiritual muscle going. Trust your intuition. Build that up and go by that. See you next time. Baba Shimon. Namaste.